The Chrysler Building co-owner's divorce gets ugly. His estranged wife wants $50 million to live like a billionaire. And this is kind of the funny thing because you can't really live like a billionaire off of $50 million. But let's get into it. The co owner of the Chrysler building is balking at his estranged wife's demands for more than $50 million as part of a divorce settlement so that she can maintain a lavish lifestyle, according to a report. Billionaire real estate mogul Michael Fuchs, 62, is currently at legal loggerheads with his estranged second wife, Alvina Colordu Fuchs, 47, who are in the process of ending their 8-year marriage. By the way, this is one thing that I personally don't really understand. If you are a super wealthy individual, guy or girl, and you've already been married, probably already had kids, what is the purpose of getting married again? Like, what is the purpose of doing that legal document stuff again? Personally, I don't really understand it. Why not just spend time together? It seems like so much of a headache. So Fitch's lawyers filed papers in London blasting his wife's demands, saying they were based on greed, not need, according to Bloomberg News. Now, here's one thing to also keep in mind, too, right? Is that it doesn't necessarily matter how much she asked for. It matters about what was her quality of life provided by the husband while they were together, right? Because if she was experiencing basically a billionaire's lifestyle for almost a decade, he's probably going to be forced to provide that sort of lifestyle to her in divorce, which is crazy, but that's typically how it goes. So Colorado Fuchs said that the sum is in line with the prenuptial agreement that the couple signed before getting married. She's demanding more than $50 million for herself, in addition to $1.34 million in child support, and the couple have two young children. Now, here's the thing that always bothers me when I see like stories about this is the child support aspect, right? Because you can't guarantee that that child support is actually being used to take care of the child. There have been so many cases of mothers basically just utilizing all that money for themselves and basically spending no money on the kids to the point where like the dad has to basically buy the kid clothes and whatnot, which is crazy if he was already giving them child support. Like it's just insane. Fuchs's side has accused Colorado Fuchs of inflating her child support demands, which are really spousal support in disguise. And that's the thing, I pretty much agree with that. Fuchs is countering with an offer of a payout of around $33 million. Patrick Chamberlain, the attorney representing Fuchs, said in court documents that Colorado Fuchs wants to live like a billionaire, having signed an agreement that she will live like a mere multi-millionaire. And here's the thing, I certainly wouldn't complain if I was given multiple millions of dollars for divorce. It is evidence of greed, not need, Chamberlain wrote in court documents cited by Bloomberg News. The German born Fuchs, who says he has a net worth of $1.1 billion, co founded Manhattan based RFR Holding LLC alongside Abby Rosen. RFR's real estate portfolio includes the Chrysler and Seagram buildings in Manhattan, as well as commercial and residential properties in Miami, Frankfurt, Tel Aviv, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, and Stamford, Connecticut. Earlier this year, the High Court in London ordered Fuchs to pay his estranged wife 2 years, well, a wife of 2 years, more than 4.7 million every year until a judge decides how much he would receive in a final settlement. Do you realize how crazy that is? That she has already been getting paid as a multi-millionaire when she hasn't even gotten like any sort of agreement for the divorce settlement yet. Like, what are you doing with $4.7 million? Like, what are you doing with that money? You could literally be set for life, pretty much have any sort of lifestyle that you really want, other than a billionaire's, and just enjoy life, never have to lift a finger to quite literally do anything, not even to wipe your own butt. And yet, you want more and more and more. Like, I don't understand this. Before their separation, Fuchs and his wife reportedly lived in a $40 million 5-bedroom home in London, which boasts 6 floors and an indoor underground swimming pool. The couple also shared a villa in Antibes, France, as well as a penthouse in Miami. Fuchs, an avid art collector who shies away from media attention, married the former journalist Colorado Fuchs in 2012 after divorcing his first wife, Hampton's socialite and designer Chris Fuchs. The Paris-born Colorado Fuchs grew up in London and moved to New York to attend New York University. And basically, to me, it kind of seems like she just feels like she's entitled to almost everything that the guy has. She has reportedly worked for various media companies, including French Vogue, NBC, CNN, and CBS. Fuchs and Colorado Fuchs, who negotiated a prenuptial agreement before their wedding, spent much of their time in court this week haggling over credit card bills and a monthly allowance for Colorado Fuchs, who once spent a staggering $1 million on a 4-month stay in Dubai, according to court papers cited by the Real Deal earlier this year. Like, this is the thing that it is so hard for me to really understand how someone in their right mind could possibly be spending this amount of money on just useless garbage, right? Like, think about it. If you stumble upon this episode, what would you do with $1 million? Probably pay off your debt, probably create some sort of an emergency fund, put money in the savings account just for like daily expenses, put money into investments, and live a pretty good life, basically. Like a pretty free life, right? If you were getting 4.7 million a year, you'd probably just retire yourself and live a very relaxing life. That's the majority of what people's mindsets would be. And yet you have someone in this position where they're probably spending more than $5 million a year, which is crazy. Like, what are you spending this money on? How many clothes can you buy? How many jewelry pieces can you buy? Like, what the heck are you doing with this money that you are running out of it so quickly that you can't find a way to basically live? Like, I just don't understand this. It's like, it's just so much money that is so hard for me to comprehend how someone could be so bad with money. And yeah, at the same time, I understand that there's like stories of like lottery winners who win like 20 million, 40 million, $100 million, and they lose everything within 5 years. Like, that is so hard for me to understand why you can't just not spend all of your money. Because if you get into a situation like that where you literally cannot stop spending your money, like it is impossible for you to stop spending your money, one, you're probably going to speak to a therapist, or two, you're going to have to give someone control over your finances because you can't even trust yourself, which sometimes is what is needed. Let's check out some of the comments. With $50 million, you can't live like a billionaire. You can live like someone with $50 million. I agree. So much for the prenup. Yeah. It really is impossible for the guy to marry 15 years younger. It is a business transaction and nothing more. It's not worth getting married anymore for rich people. Just enjoy their company and that is it. You would never know if they truly love you or are using you until it's too late. Unless you marry someone who's about on the same level financially as you. And see, here's the thing. I kind of agree with this, right? If you're someone who is making so much money or is worth so much money and you've already done the marriage thing, why not just live more of like a bachelorette life? You could be monogamous, but why make it legally binding that you are now going to be 100% responsible for the individual? Like, to me, that just doesn't even make sense, right? Because it's like, what is the actual benefit for doing that? I don't really see a benefit for doing that if you've already been married, if you've already had kids. Like, what is the point? She wants $50 million so she can live like a billionaire. Whoever said that must have gone to the AOC school of math. It never ceases to amaze me when a Richie Rich balks when his trophy wife wants to cash out. You collected what you wanted, now she gets to collect what she wanted. That's the deal you agreed to, now pay up. If you don't pay for what you took off the shelf, the message to your other business associates is that you cannot be trusted with your word. Your honor should be worth more than a few hundred mil. Cheaper to keep her, as the song goes. Well, I don't know about that because, I mean, she was potentially spending millions of dollars every other month or whatever. Seems to me she saw an opportunity and went for it. I would be so happy with a measly $2 million. Like, see, that's the thing. Like, the majority of people, if they were to get lucky enough to get like $1 million, $2 million, that would literally change their life, and they could potentially, if they invested that money, they could potentially never have to work to pay their living expenses again. When will you rich guys wake up and realize that younger women marry you for your money, then they divorce you for all of your money? Happens all the time. Take the 33 million and run. If she gets a lawyer, then at least one third goes to the law firm. I wonder why this guy can't stay married. Interesting. Feel free to give your thoughts on this if you stumble upon this. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your own money, so you don't have to rely on trying to marry a billionaire, go down below and learn how to get out of debt.